I'm Peter.
I'm Gavin.
And I'm Gareth.
And we are in the basement. Today we are talking about the Amish.
The Pennsylvania Dutch.
Pennsylvania Dutch. Oh boy, the stories I have of them people.
So, in case you didn't know, the Amish are people who don't use technology.
Lies.
And they still work the old way. They farm by hand. They are a very respectable community in some areas and some factions. If you're not from Pennsylvania, like I wasn't, you learn quickly that they are nowhere near as good of people as you think they are.
They are not. Some of them are good. Some of them are great people. It's real stand-up people, but...
I feel like if you were in the Amish community, a lot of them would be really good people. But whenever you're an outsider and you're normal English, they tend to look down at, especially women. Especially women.
They are.
Haley
not a fan of women.
Yeah, Haley works at the bank in Belleville, and like some of these guys are pretty nasty to her because she's a girl. Never
They
knew
don't
that.
think they can do anything.
Exactly. Well, it's always a man's work. Women are supposed to be at home. You know, the old
way.
Yeah, like.
But
women,
I was just going I was going back through Back Mountain Road the other day, and I see nothing but Amish women mowing the grass, and I'm like, that's a man's job in the Amish.
They do have good produce.
They do have quality produce.
So, when I first came to Pennsylvania, every single time I saw an Amish person on the road, the Amish people, in case you don't know this, they drive a horse and buggy. Anybody from Pennsylvania already knows this. They actually take a horse and put it on the road and drive it down the road like a car, except it's a slow moving car. And people are constantly breaking traffic laws to get around those horse and buggies.
It's not breaking a traffic law. It's legal in Pennsylvania.
If you use your turn signals, you gotta use.
Yeah, you gotta use your turn signals.
And they go clickety clack all over the road.
And they ruin the roads.
And when you say clickety clack, you mean clickety clack. Some of them, well,
they
some
poop
of them,
too.
Yeah, some of them don't have. Well, the ones down in Lancaster have to have those
catches.
Yeah, they're like bags on the back of them to catch the poop.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
you
yeah,
didn't know that.
If you go to Lancaster, they have poop bags on the back of them so they don't crap all over the roads. Here in Pennsylvania, we're like, fertilizer.
Let it go.
Yeah.
It'll fill the buggy
Strengthens the asphalt. But you want to talk about roads, man. Potholes around here, ruts in the middle of roads.
Oh, yeah, the buggy wheels just dig right into them.
It's awful. Awful stuff.
So, I grew up nowhere near the Amish. So, you guys grew up with literally Amish neighbors. What was that like?
Didn't really talk to them. They didn't really... Some of them weren't even allowed to talk to us.
I've actually spent quite a bit of time with the Amish. So, my best friend that I met in kindergarten, we were getting on the bus together, and that's how we became to be best friends. He lived on a farm right behind my house. And he's not... His last name's Spiker, so he's not Amish or I don't think he's Mennonite or anything like that. He's just real tight with a lot of the Amish people around because Spiker, Yoder, all those are like Amish names. So he had friends that lived right down the road that were Amish, right? And there was this one time we were up doing something on the farm and his buddy came up, and we went down to his place, and we were, like, standing there talking, and I started getting curious and asking questions and stuff. Well, we went down in the basement, and, of course, it didn't have all this fancy stuff down here, but there's a couch sitting there with, like, a book dresser thing there and everything, and there was a freaking flat-screen TV sitting on the bookshelf.
That doesn't seem very,
Amish-like?
acceptable in the Amish community.
Yeah. So he's like, here, you think that's? He's like, here, you like that? Let's check this out. And he pulls out a box from underneath the sofa, opens it up, and there's an Of course, this was back in the day, so it's like the original Xbox. He had an Xbox in an Amish household.
That's not fair.
And like, you got
I didn't
lanterns
even have an
hanging from the
Xbox
ceiling,
growing up.
man.
So, I used to work for insert major retailer name here, and I used to sell cell phones for them. And on a regular basis, I would sell burner phones to those people. And they would tell me that, obviously, the AT&T service is awful out in Belleville. So it was always Verizon. And they would explain to me how they have generators set up in their barns because it's not under the roof of their house.
Mm-hmm.
And they can power and use their cell phones off of that generator because that's allowed.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're
The
doing
church says it's okay. The church
Yeah.
says it's okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they've been, of course, they're evolving just like everybody else, man. They find all these little loopholes that, like, oh, well, I can put steel wheels on this thing and put some rubber on the outside of them, and then strap a motor to it and be able to use it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not necessarily that.
Oh,
but
I've been driving down through Back Mountain Road, and this one
that's where
buggy.
I grew up, actually.
I was
Back
driving down, and I'm like, man, what is there a car behind me? Because like they were blaring music,
Oh,
and then buggy coming at me, full sound system,
subs and everything, dude.
subs and everything.
So, funny story about that too. Like I said, I grew up on Back Mountain Road. That's where my mom lives. So we're sitting outside one night, just like, summer night,
Sitting on
enjoying the
porch,
time, hanging out on the porch,
having
like,
some sweet
yep,
tea.
watching the deer and stuff run around the fields, and like we hear this thumping coming. We're like, oh, well, here comes like a little rice burner or something. Some kid thinking he's all cool driving down Back Mountain Road with his music blaring.
Your brother?
Like we're hearing, and we're hearing this for like it's like 5 minutes, and then it just keeps getting louder, and louder, and louder, and all of a sudden here it comes, quack 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 down the road, Amish buggy, freaking subs just boom 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 boom, and freaking LED underglow strips on the buggy, bright green LED underglow on this buggy, dude.
This leads me to an important question. Do the Amish drag race?
Do the Amish drag race?
Yes.
I believe
Really?
I witnessed it. So where my mom lives,
it's a straight stretch.
there's two roads or there's like a road comes this way and the road that comes in front of her house comes this way. Well, there's like a
fork,
diamond,
kinda.
yeah, like a fork in the road. So right there in that triangle, dude, they used to get together. There used to be like Amish parties in this triangle. Like there'd be like 10 buggies sitting over there, like music bumping. They're like playing with lasers and stuff. Yeah, and they would do it. They would line up beside each other and run right up in front of my mom's house.
Oh, we need to see this
Oh,
sometime.
dude, I haven't seen them do it for years, but
Oh, my
I
mom
have
used to
seen-
tell me they used to drag race on that road right by your house, like the one that's going up towards Milroy.
yeah, I believe it because there's a lot of straight road there.
It's just perfectly wide enough. Not
Okay.
saying that drag racing's acceptable in any way.
So, as an outsider, I have a few questions I need to ask about the Amish.
Okay.
Now,
Seriously.
even though I've lived here for years, I still don't know that much about the Amish because they are a very seclusive people. So, you're going to learn some interesting stuff today. Tell me about the whoopie pie secrets.
Ooh, little
Whoopie
whoopie
pie
pies.
secrets.
If you call them goobers,
You are a goober.
unsubscribe.
You are a goober.
So,
They are not goobers. They are whoopie pies.
Whoopie pies.
a whoopie pie is a soft shelled pastry with cream filling in the middle.
No, don't even
No.
just. It's not a pastry.
It's a cake.
It's
with
not
a cake
good
and some
enough-
icing
like, it's
in the
not
center, and they put it
Held
together.
to the same level of the pastry. Whoopie pies are better. It's a piece of cake with icing and then another piece of cake. And that's all
So
you
good.
need.
This is why we're talking about
So
whoopie
good.
pies right now. So, I have heard rumors before of how they make the icing. Do you care to elaborate?
That's false.
The breast milk?
Totally false. Yeah.
No, they're not made with breast milk.
That's never happened ever.
And if they are, you know what? They're still delicious.
That is
they're
the worst
still
thing I've
delicious.
ever heard you say.
Hey,
Like,
I'm
we
just
you
saying.
instantly
if
feel
it was
regret for
made
saying
with
that.
it, we've already eaten enough of them. It doesn't bother me at this
point, like
I've grown to
I
love
would
them
have
too
to
much.
take back every whoopie pie I've ever eaten, and that's just not possible. Because
Okay.
I love whoopie pies.
The second thing I've heard of is the vines. And we are not going to get too much into this. It involves a potato and self-procreation.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're lying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I really don't know what you're talking
I
about.
believe you really don't know what I'm talking
I
about.
I don't know what you're talking
You're
about.
lying.
I honestly have no
Liar!
idea what you're talking about.
So, what is the vines and is it true?
Oof, it is not true.
It is not true.
In any sense, it is not true.
Okay, so what I have heard the vines is they use the potatoes, and the potatoes get stuck inside, and they start growing a potato in there, and the roots spread, and they have to go see a doctor.
But why? Like, why do people come up with these things?
Where does that even come from?
Why would you even ask that question?
Because I was told that happens.
Yeah, well, I can tell you some other stories about the Amish that are not family appropriate, too.
Okay, speaking of not family appropriate, we're going to try to keep this one as clean as possible. The Amish girls being sent out of the community to go to bars. Is that true? To help keep the bloodline stronger and get external blood. Like blood for the children. No, that's
No.
not true.
Because their community is so
Tightly wound
so
together.
close. Especially women would not be allowed. I mean, now they do. Now, like, what is it, Rumspringa? Or something?
Rumspringa!
That is true. I mean, I have had friends
So-
that have done that, but that's not.
Elaborate what Romspringer is.
That's whenever like they hit a certain age.
It's
I
a
forget
coming
what
of
it is,
age, like, I
and
think
it's like 16 or something. They're allowed to just leave the Amish community for a little bit and do what they want to do.
They get to see what not normal, but
Essentially,
a
what it
life
is for
outside
them,
of the
yeah,
Amish community is like.
it's to send them out and see how outsiders live and see if they essentially want to come
Leave the
stay
church.
part of the Amish community or not. Which has a lot of benefits, really. I mean, I was just reading up on something the other day about like their health system and stuff because like they don't believe in healthcare, like government healthcare.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so what they do, like their churches and stuff, they give money just like a
They
Christian
constantly
church
pay
would.
tribute.
Yeah, they
to the
would give
church.
money to the church like a Christian church would, but they have to give a certain amount. And that actually goes into a fund for their health care. So like if somebody in the Amish community gets hurt really bad, it just comes out of there and they pay for it. So it's like
It's like
Kind
a
of.
little socialism.
kind of.
It's a little
Yeah.
communist.
But if you think about it, I mean,
It seems like a decent system.
I've worked
It works
for them.
I've worked for some institutions that would know the kinds of
Tomfoolery.
contributions that would be being made to this, and I mean they can pay for a lot of stuff out of it.
But then the other thing about that too is that they can, depending on how much money they've given the church, depends on how much that's how they're able to get the speakers and subs in their buggies, is that they pay so much money to the church and then they can buy that stuff from the church, and it's just super expensive.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
like a sub and speaker system that would cost me or you $120 could cost them like $4,000.
It's a lot of
I
money
didn't
for
know
a
that.
sub and speaker system.
Yeah.
But they have it. That's the thing, they have it.
But yeah, back to the whole Rumspringa thing. Like they're allowed to go do that kind of thing, but they would not allow their women to go.
Procreate.
Yeah, if they would go
The
try
women are
to
allowed
have
to go
a
on
baby with
Rumspringa.
an outsider, like they'd probably be shunned.
Yeah, my family's been shunned. Our family was Amish.
Okay, so while we're talking about the shunned factions of Amish, I heard that the roof of the buggy determines the faction.
Black
Yes.
toppers, white toppers, and yellow toppers.
Elaborate.
There's like
So the white toppers are like the most
die hard.
Yeah, they're like I don't even know what word I'm looking for it, but they're the
Faithful?
ones that like zero electricity, like
They're the ones that won't
bath
get around
once
stuff.
a week, like
So they're only allowed to bathe once a week? Like, I thought that was just because they didn't have time to bathe because they're always out working on their fields.
they're like some of them they only wash like a certain amount a week, I believe.
Yes, and the local Walmart smells like cherries in the summer.
So the yellow toppers are the highest. The black toppers are like mid grade, and like yellow toppers are like the most high society ones. And those are the ones you see that have the LED strips, the subwoofers in their trucks or in their buggies. Like those are the ones that they're a little more lenient, I guess, to the modern world.
Can they intermingle?
That I don't know.
I think that's more up to the families on that point.
So, like, could a yellow topper and a white topper, like, don't they have arranged marriages or something in the Amish? I've heard they have arranged marriages.
They can be, but also at the same time, like it's.
I don't think there's. I don't think they're arranged.
There are some that are like not forced, but they're like
Encouraged.
heavily encouraged. And then another thing too is that like financially, they usually like marry for financial benefits also.
So, could a yellow topper and a white topper be married?
If it was approved,
I don't know.
I imagine.
If they were married, which society would they follow then? I guess probably the Society of the Man on that one, huh?
Yeah,
Probably.
probably.
Okay. So, this is the last question I have about the Amish.
Yes, they're very, very slow.
Well, I mean, as far as that's concerned, that's basically because they're mostly interbred, aren't they? Like,
I wouldn't say that either.
smaller communities.
It's one of the things you hear about, but you don't say anything about it. Like I
I
wouldn't.
feel like
bring it
there's a
up.
lot. I feel like there's a lot of them that are, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think it's like. I don't think it's like a constant thing. Like I feel like that would be something that they would frown upon too, just like we would.
Okay. Amish and construction in the local area.
Oh my gosh!
In case you are not aware, the Amish are very, very cheap, proficient labor.
Works pretty well.
So, how has that been growing up?
I mean, my roof has shingles for a reason.
You're talking like the actual construction, like barn raising and stuff, dude. I watched. So our neighbor, they put up a horse barn after they like, I forget when it was a long time ago because we had just bought our house, and we went over to their barn raising, and I tell you what, they had a foundation built, and by the end of the day, that entire barn was up in an 8-hour period.
Really?
The whole barn was built. There was there had to have been 50 or 60 Amish guys running around just like they all knew what they were doing, and they just like, there's a barn. It was crazy. Like I watched one that didn't have a hand running around on these freaking rafters up on the top. Have you ever been in a barn?
Yes.
So you know how high the roofs are.
Yes.
So like the top, like where they sit, the making of the roof.
The peak.
Yeah, where they set that stuff. He's just up there like goes over and like crawls down, wraps his legs around the thing, and like whips out a nail with his hand that he doesn't have a hand, and he's like pow 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 pow, just going to town. I'm like, what is going on here?
That's how
Those
you
guys
lost it
work.
in the first place.
Yeah, those guys work, man. I'm telling you, they get some crap done like big time.
Yeah.
So, before we wrap up the video, is there any other things you guys want to talk about the Amish? And remember, a lot of people that are watching this have never seen an Amish person before.
All right. So we've all had that bad day, right? You wake up late, you didn't get to take your shower, you're just trying to get to work on time, and you think, man, if I can just, no traffic, you're thinking, yes, I can make it. I'm going to get there on time. I'm not going to get a write-up. Then there's a buggy. That buggy is not going faster than 15 miles an hour. You're lucky if it's going. You're lucky if it's going 10. But that is when traffic will pick up on the oncoming lane, and you can't pass that buggy.
Mm-hmm.
So you get stuck behind that buggy for 10 minutes.
Happens a lot.
Now
So,
you're late.
When you brought up the construction thing and the the Amishman, the first thought that popped into my head is Pennsylvania's Pennsylvania state flag, you know, the
Yeah.
road work ahead sign. You know what I mean? Because there's literally road work everywhere all season long. Have you ever followed an Amish buggy through one-lane traffic?
Oh my goodness, just trying to get to work back when the bridge was out.
Yeah,
even
they had that
down.
stretch in Belleville there.
If you got stuck behind a buggy at that construction, you were waiting.
So
you
you
were
wanna know
sitting
what was
there
really
4
bad?
times when there was that red light.
You want to know what was really bad? It was when they were paving 655.
Dude, I was actually moved out of Belleville when they paved 655.
No, like this year,
So,
like,
yeah, I
like
know.
2 months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
They were paving 655, and like, you think the Amish can use the back roads? No.
No,
They
which
use the
is
highway, the only road that goes the whole way from. Well, there's 2 roads that go the whole way down, but the main one that goes right down the center of Big Valley, they decide to use, and there's 1-lane traffic.
they don't care. They're getting there slow anyway.
So you're sitting there at the stop sign for half an hour waiting on all the other traffic to come by, and then once they do, here comes the buggy bloop, 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 out into the road, and it's like, great.
You said about the state flag being road construction ahead. I was told multiple times when I first came to Pennsylvania that the national flower of the state flower of Pennsylvania is the orange traffic code. And I'm like, how bad can it be?
How about, yeah,
It's
and
awful.
then you learn. It's
It's
terrible.
truly, truly awful
Terrible.
in Pennsylvania.
I'll tell you what.
Terrible,
where's
terrible.
worse though. I recently took a trip through New York to go to Vermont. The whole time, nothing but potholes through New York all the way to Vermont.
Well, what's really bad is you see there's all this road construction in Pennsylvania,
But
and the
nothing seems
roads
to get better.
Yeah, the roads are still. You're like, wow, this is nice, and then 2 days later,
Oh,
back
look,
on the
buggy
same
rut.
road. Oh, there goes the suspension in my car.
Joke's on you. My suspension's already horrible.
Yeah. So, I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I said it all right this time! And if you ever come to Pennsylvania, please find yourself an Amish person in a buggy with a horse, and I guarantee that you'll be like, oh my god, it's a horsey! Just like I still do to this day.
I don't get that excited. I just get a little upset and need to drop a gear and pass.
Oh, turtle down. Ah, he pulled his arm off.